Hi everybody. We hope you are having a good day today, but more importantly, we hope you're in your Bibles because today is a very special day. Not only is it Shabbat, but it is also what people know as Christmas, which we are going to go into today on why it is satanic, why you should not be celebrating it, and why you are sending your family to hell if you are celebrating it. And we're going to go into the Bible verse first. We're going to start in Jeremiah, and Jaden's going to read for us, and he's going to explain to us why that Yahuwah said not to do it. So Jaden? It starts in Jeremiah 10, verse 1. Hear ye the word which Yahuwah speaks unto you, O house of Yisrael. Thus says Yahuwah, learn not the ways of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. For the heathen are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are vain. For one cuts a tree out of a forest, the work of the hands of the workman with the axe. They deck it with silver, with gold. They fasten it with nails and hammers, that it move not. So guys, he says there, don't be like the heathen, don't be like the Gentiles. They cut down trees and adorn it. They put silver and gold on it. They make it look good, right? They make it so it stands up. They fasten it to the wall. They keep it so it does not fall over. And he says, do not learn the ways of the heathen. If he says do not learn the ways of the heathen, it is very important that we do not learn that, because we are the people of Yahuwah. We are not the people, we are not the children of the devil, but of Yahuwah. So staying on that alone here, I want to get into some of the origins of what people know as Santa Claus, the Christmas tree, and the reindeer, and why people give presents and why they do all that. So I'm going to start out with the name of Santa Claus, and it can be turned to Satan Lucas or Satan's Claus. But he goes, it may owe his name to the earliest influence, Odin, also known as Wodan, a god revered by Germanic peoples in the northern Europe as early as 2 BCE. Odin was celebrated during Yule, a pagan holiday that took place in midwinter. During this time, Odin was said to lead a wild hunt, a ghostly procession through the sky. Like many other pagan holidays that later merged with early Christian traditions, elements of Yule influenced celebrations of Christmas, to the extent that the word Yuletide is now synonymous with the Christmas season. Examples of Yuletide traditions that merge with Christmas include the Yule log and singing door to door. It is unclear to what extent Odin in particular has had an effect on Christmas, but as a bearded cloaked man who traveled through the winter night sky, Odin undoubtedly has similarities to Santa Claus, sparking speculation that the god with an early pagan influence on a modern day mythical figure. So we start off with a man that sounds exactly like Odin, a Norse mythological god that is a pagan god, which you should not be saying the names of this, but we will be for educational purposes so that you guys understand what it is you're up against. And it begins with that saying that he would go out and he would do that. And there's more that Odin himself would say to hang up stockings in mythological days, back in the day, before we have now what we have. He says, hang up stockings, put boots by your door, put boots by your chimney, and I will put gifts in them. And that is why you put gifts in your stockings. That is why you put your stockings up by the chimney, because this mythological deity, this person against Yahuwah, this person that is pagan, would put gifts in the stockings for those that were the paganisms back in the day. That was to the extent of it. Now, we also have the reindeer. And every single reindeer, except for one that I found, which there probably is a name on him, has a satanic reference to mythological names. And we're going to go in order of what I found, how they always say. You guys know how the song goes, Dasher and whatever. And it goes, and we're going to start with Dasher, and it goes, in Norse mythology, Disir, his name derives from Disir, was a lady spirit associated with fate, who can either be benevolent or antagonistic toward mortals. So this name already comes from a pagan name, which probably comes from Nimrod or Semiramis, which all the pagan names do. If you guys can look up a list of pagan names, we might put it up on the screen, all the pagan names of Nimrod, but that probably is one of them that comes up there. So that's already a mythological spirit that attacks people. So, and then we get into Dancer. We have Dancer now. In a classical Greek song, Apollo, the god of medicine, music, and poetry, another name for Nimrod, which was the Greeks had made another god for. They had music and poetry, one of the 12 greater gods, and the son of the chief was called Dancer, the Dancer. So, name Dancer also derives from a satanic name, which is another pagan deity. Then we get, which I could not find, was Prancer. I could not find a name on him, and I don't know why. And if you guys find one, please let us know. And we have another one, Vixen. In Greek mythology, the Tumesian fox, or Kemdean vixen, was a gigantic fox that was designated to never be caught. It was a mythological god that was never be caught, another satanic deity. Now we have comet, and comet can mean several things. It could be like a star from the sky, but this is what you found from Greek mythology regarding comets. According to Norse mythology, comets were actually a part of the giant Ymir's skull. According to the tale, Odin and his brothers slew Ymir after their battle. So they are relating comets in Greek mythology to a skull. They are relating it to some god's skull that they had made. So we already started off there, and this is all made by, the poem was made by someone in Dutch or Germany, like in 1860 or something like that, and this is basically what it's made off, because all these names are from the German or the Greek or the Dutch names. And so then we get into Cupid, which I don't know if you guys already know, but it is already a satanic name for Nimrod. It's one of the most popular ones he has. We all know it as the Cupid. He is the god of desire or love, affection, attraction. He is often portrayed as the son of the love goddess Venus and the god of war Mars. So he is already a satanic deity. And then we get Donner or Donder, which is another one of the reindeer. And it goes, the German name for Thor. That was his name in German, was Thor, the god of Norse mythology. And he was known for what is Blitzen in there, which is lightning. Lightning that came from Thor was Blitzen. And so now that was all that I could find. I didn't find anything on Rudolph. If you guys find that, again, let us know. And he goes, now the satanicness in his Santa's suit, the satanic man. He goes, the classic red and white color scheme from Santa derives from a much older Slavic deity known as Father Winter. This red and white color scheme was chosen because its colors match historically significant hallucinogenic mushroom known as the Amatena muscaria, which they worshipped back in the day in the Slavic days. And it was Father Winter is also part of this winter solstice, which is another god, another pagan deity. And long before Christianity appeared, people in the Northern Hemisphere used evergreen plants to decorate their homes, particularly the doors, to celebrate the winter solstice on December 21st or December 22nd. The day is the shortest and the night is the longest. Traditionally, this time of year is seen as the return of the strength of the sun god, who had been weakened during winter. And that evergreen plant was served as a reminder that the god would grow again and summer was to be expected. So the tree itself, the small piece in that tree, was that you plant the tree to let you know the sun god's coming back, the god of the sun. It is all very satanic. Everything so far in Christmas has been very satanic. There is not one thing that you can say that it is for Jesus or it is for God, that you're doing it, that he knows your heart, because the same thing happened with the Israelites in the days of the golden calf. When they were with the golden calf, they said, oh, it was on our heart. We thought that was our God. We thought that was our God. And you know what God did? Yah smote them. He made them, and then Moses made them drink out of this polluted water. He killed a bunch of people, and they punished them for that. They all got punished. Yah was very angry. That's what made Moses slam the 10 Commandments down, the Torah that came down that everybody knows of. And because they said that's what's on our hearts. They said the same excuse that everyone uses today, what Christianity uses. It's what's on our hearts. Yah knows what's on our hearts. And he does, but he also knows that you guys are doing it for pagan things. When you guys say Merry Christmas. When the devil would come out on stage, they had a play back in the early medieval days. Satan would come out, the person that played the devil, and he would go, ho, ho, ho. So when you hear him going, ho, ho, he's announcing that he is Satan. He's announcing that he is the devil. And he goes, here we go. He goes, the winter solstice, was celebrated by Egyptians who filled their homes with green palm rushes in honor of the god Ra, who had the head of a hawk, who wore the sun as a crown. In Northern Europe, the Celts, I don't know how to pronounce that, guys. I think it's Celts, decorated their druid temples with evergreen boughs, which signified everlasting life. Further upon, the Vikings thought evergreens were the plants of Balder, the god of light and peace. The ancient Romans marked the winter solstice with a feast called Saturnalia, thrown in the honor of Saturn. So Saturn is also Nimrod. They are worshiping Nimrod's birth. They are worshiping the beginning of Nimrod. Because Saturn is also another name for Satan, and Saturn was also what was called Nimrod back in the day by another language. So when we put up these Christmas trees, and we put up the wreaths, all that is derived. The wreath is the halo that goes around Saturn, which is the satanic rings of Saturn. That is a very satanic thing. And you have that, and you're celebrating gods of light. You're not celebrating it for Jesus, not for his birthday, not for Yeshua's birthday. You guys are celebrating it for pagan days, which is pagan lights. And that's why Yah says, these are my feasts. He gives you his feasts. He gives you the Feast of Sukkot. He gives you Passover. He gives you the Feast of Trumpets. He gives you all these 6 separate feasts to do. But he never said do these. He specifically said do not do these. Do not do as the pagans has done. And here we go. It goes, it's worth mentioning at this point, Saturnalia was the most important celebration of Roman life, which is super satanic. There is pedophilia. There is child sacrifices to Moloch. There is so much evil that happens in Saturnalia. It's hard to mention what it is. That it is so bad that what they did on Saturnalia. It was a week-long lawless celebration. Yes, it was a very lawless celebration, held between 17th and 25th of December, in which no one could be prosecuted, injuring or killing people, or raping, theft, anything usually against the law, really. That's satanic. That's what everything there is against the Bible. Everything there was against the Bible. You cannot do anything. You cannot prosecute anyone. When a man took a woman and violated her against her will, they would stone him. When you stole, you repay it. No one could get punished for those days. It was basically a day to go serve Satan. Do as you will. So, it goes back on. Saturnalia could also be a time for kindness. During Saturnalia, many Romans practiced merrymaking in exchange for friends. So they basically traded their children to gods and to other people, and they traded it for marriage, and they traded it for blessings. They would trade all these things. They would give sacrifices to the gods for blessings, and they would wrap them up in presents, and they would hand them to the gods. He goes, and here's the final thing on the tree, and then we'll have Jaden explain more of Nimrod's tree and everything. And he goes, these evergreens were initially called paradise trees, and were often accompanied by wooden pyramids and made of branches held together by rope. So when you guys put the star or that angel on top of your tree, you guys are actually doing what the ancient Egyptians did, which put the pyramid. And the pyramid is anything. You got the all-seeing eye, you got the pyramid with it. That is also a thing from Satan, the pyramid that they make, the pyramid that they worship in Egypt. You guys are putting another pyramid. It may be in a form of something else, but that is how they originally derived it. And when Americans and the Christians and the Babylonians, they all changed it to make you feel comfortable with yourselves, to make you feel good about it. And he goes, it was accompanied by pyramids with rope. On these pyramids, some families would fasten lights, candles, one for each family member. These were the possessors of modern Christmas tree lights and ornaments, along with edibles such as gingerbread and gold and covered apples, which are all satanic. The gingerbread man has to do with satanic things and pedophilia and things of that degree. And that's what we have written down for all the satanicness of Christmas. But there's more to it. We have what is from Nimrod. So when Nimrod was killed by Esau, it talks about this a lot about in Jasher, that Esau killed Nimrod. And then Shem found him and chopped Nimrod up into many pieces and sent him to all over the world. And then as we learn more about, if you read about Nimrod and what happened to Nimrod and why we celebrate the tree, it doesn't tell about Jasher, but it tells about this in his history. If you look at the history of Nimrod, you will find this. Then when Nimrod was buried, his wife had buried him, that the next day when they went out to his grave, a tree was risen up. There was a tree which represented his private parts because they could not be found after he was chopped up. So the tree is his private parts. So you get down and worship his private parts when you get on your knees and bow before that, and that you adorn him, you adorn Nimrod when you get under that tree. And Nimrod was somebody against Yahuwah. He was the mighty hunter against Yahuwah. He was part Nephilim. He wasn't a holy creature. He was a very bad person. He caused most of the world to sin. He was one who led Babylon. There's all these pagan names you guys heard here are all different names of Nimrod. Because when Yahuwah had changed the languages in the Tower of Babel, when he had changed all the languages, each person had a different language now and a different name for Nimrod. And they went off into the world and used those names for Nimrod because Nimrod was their god. It was their king, right? He was able to do anything. He was a mighty hunter. And so, guys, when you worship the tree, you are worshiping Nimrod and his private parts. All over the world, they have things built up like Nimrod's private parts to represent Nimrod and to bow to him, right? To represent Nimrod, because Nimrod was an evil person. He was a person against Yahuwah that was a mighty hunter against him, right? He tried killing Yahuwah. He tried to shoot arrows up in heaven. You can read a lot about that in Jasher and Jubilee. It talks a lot about Nimrod and what he does, what his evil was and his sin, and why they had confused languages. Because these people were doing very evil things in Babylon, and this was the beginning of Babylon. So everywhere around the world we have satanic celebrations going on, and you may not know, but now you do, that everything you do on Christmas is a satanic celebration, no matter what you do. We have feast days that we were told to celebrate. This was not one of them. This is not representing anything. This is not representing anything of Yahuwah or his son Yeshua, Jesus the Christ. It does not represent anything like that biblical. It's all satanic feasts and satanic ceremonies. Everything you have heard now is true, and that every single one of them was the name of Nimrod. So you guys are worshiping Nimrod every time you celebrate Christmas. You are leading your family astray and going against everything that Yahuwah would want you to do. He gave us feast days to celebrate. And read Leviticus 23, and you will understand that those are feast days. You guys want to feast? There's certain feast days. We have a day of fasting. We have a day of blowing the shofar. We have days of taking off work, right? We have once a week. He wants us just to rest, not cook. He wants us to prepare the days before, and he wants us to do it. If you guys want to give gifts earlier, right? You can give a gift to your friend, give a gift to your friend, but don't do it on the days of the pagan days. Don't do it of the evil ones they done. Don't do it on the days of Saturnalia. Don't do it on those evil days and worship other gods. You don't need to decorate and put up all this stuff because you feel in a festive mood, and you need to get rid of this because it is very satanic. Every ornament you put up when you celebrate these people, Santa or Satan, you celebrate every single one of them, and you lead your family astray, your children. So guys, now is the time to stop celebrating Christmas, celebrating these evil pagan days, and celebrate the days of Yahuwah. He gave us these feasts specifically for us. If you want to celebrate him, if you want to have his days, he gave us 6 specific feasts that we can celebrate. And they are all listed in the Bible. We'll put them up on the screen so that you guys can see them. And read your Bibles. Pray. Today is a good day to pray and ask for forgiveness of the sins of the world, to pray, and that he has mercy on the families that are celebrating these things. Because today is a very, very wicked day. But you guys don't have to be part of this. You guys can be part of Yah's family. You can be part of Israel. Being grafted in means that you are following his commands. It means that you are doing what he has told you. Alright, and with that, we are out. Alright, Yahuwah bless and have a great day. And Shabbat Shalom.